Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Milsurp World Podcast, the podcast all about military surplus. I am your host today, Danny, and we are joined by Aaron, Jared, and a special guest, Michael, or Mike. You go by Michael or Mike?
Michael.
Mike, okay. Hi. Hello. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
I guess we could do some round robin to start off with, recent purchases, before we get into the topic. Which, it's going to be pretty short for me. I think I bought like one gun since, Aaron's holding up a goose egg there, so.
2.5. 2.5.
2.5, half a gun. That'll be an interesting one. Okay.
He bought a barreled action.
Yeah. Just a frame.
Yeah, I got one on the way, but two currently recently. So
okay.
It's a photo of a gun. That's what it is.
It's
Somebody's purchased.
it's an ad online until it reaches me.
Yeah, that's true. Pretty much. Yep. I got some on the way, but I'm not counting them. Next podcast, I'll talk about them. If I can remember.
I wouldn't count them because, like I said, what if UPS loses it?
Yeah, I know. I'm really.
Everyone's all excited.
I'm really worried because it's kind of an uncommon gun for like a pretty good price. So I'm kind of worried.
See, I got one. I bought a 1913 Sour. So
from your possible honey hole, local honey hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the place that Danny dreams about going and seeing, even though it's very small.
They just have
in an Ace Hardware store.
That's
House.
Yep.
It's
Your small honey hole. All right. Well,
yeah. They
phrasing.
It's an Ace Hardware store, man. They give you the guns in a bag that says Ace Hardware. It's awesome. Although this one, they asked me if I wanted a bag, and I was like, I can just put it in my back pocket if you guys don't care. Like, yeah,
that's pretty good.
Funny you say. Been to an Ace Hardware. That was also an FFL.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know. You can get like wheelbarrows and guns.
Aces to help the hardware.
One time I was driving through the middle of nowhere, and we stopped at a gas station, get gas and some snacks and whatever, and they had a gun store inside the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just weird, random, but yeah. Okay, yeah. Your Sour 1913, you got a good deal on it. I know.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you want to say the number or whatever, but I think it was a good deal.
I got it for $350.
$350. Yeah.
$350. It's
good.
an early one too.
What was this?
Yeah.
It's like 34,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 34,000 and some change. I think Danny said it's a second variant. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a second variant. Yeah.
See, nerd. It's sour.
I like Sour pistols. I want to get into them a little bit more, but I keep kind of getting pulled into other stuff. But
I'm surprised of all the pocket pistols I have. It fits in your hand and all the controls make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's kind of not. I don't want to say the cliche of ahead of its time, but it's pretty good. It's not a terrible piece. Kind of tubular. It's kind of weird. Especially like looking down the sights, it's just like you just see like the big oval of the tube.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
one too. I see them at shows every once in a while, but they're always behind some glass. So don't usually care to ask just to hold it. So
the strange thing about this one is it still has the fire blue, so the safety and the top part where the sights are, it's actually fire blued still.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael, what you got?
So recently, I got a Type 30 Arasaka with its mum intact. That was a big. That one came out of California. My brother was actually the one who tipped me off on it, and I called the store from there. So pretty good deal. It's a mixed master, but it still has the mum intact, which is very, very. Other than Type 99s and Type 38s, it's actually very uncommon for the Type 30 because most of them were so early and went to schools. But this one,
it's 90% of the value.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Mom's 90% of the value. All airsoft collectors know that. Yeah.
90% of the value. Yeah.
It's actually a $1 rifle and everything else.
I mean, there was a guy posted a Murata, and I was like, "Does that have a mum?" No, it's useless. What the fuck
Don't
do you buy
matter.
it for?
Yeah.
And then the other one that I got a couple days ago was I'm finally fulfilling some of the Italian collection that I've been looking for a while. Was a 1915 or a Beretta 1915 in the original 9mm Glicenti. So I'll probably never shoot that one unless I load very underpowered 9mm. And then on the way,
right?
What's that?
I'm thinking of the other Beretta, the submachine gun.
Yeah, that's on the list for one day. On the list for one day. And then on the way is its slightly younger brother, the 1915, 1917, and 32 ACP.
Yeah.
Slight upgrade in a sense for caliber. But both of those were used by the Italian army during World War I specifically. So two guns are really fulfilling the collection because they're very, very hard to find for some reason.
Yeah.
There's a Beretta at the store that I go to that's, I think it's a 1919.
Yeah, you see a lot of the 1919s because they were post-war.
Yeah.
The Navy used them like interwar, post-war years. The 1915/19.
That's where it is. Yeah.
You see a lot more of those, and there's a few more 1915/31 and 32, which were very early models of the 34 and 35 you saw during World War II. So, really filling those areas of the collection right now, as well as an original World War II Italian flag is on the way. So, kind of fitting that.
What kind of flag?
It's just a standard like crest of like the Savoy crest on the Italian.
Like a
a full
flag.
What? No, it's a full size.
Like a flagpole flag. Is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still has the original like maker mark like hang tag on it too from the actual company that was in the business for like until the 1990s. So
That's cool.
yeah, apparently they were fresh off the press back during the war, and they were picked up by GIs and brought home as souvenirs, but they were still fresh off the press, like probably didn't even get hung up on a pole at all. But they took them home as prizes. So this is one of them.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I don't know if it's just people I've run into lately or not, but it seems like Italian stuff is kind of getting a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
Because all the imports.
I don't know if it's due to the imports. Yeah, like Aaron just said. I don't know if it's due to the imports specifically, or it's just the price in general.
Minus cheap.
Minus.
It's just. You look on the subreddits for Milsurp. You look on Facebook.
Yeah.
Every other post is a Carcano.
And it's all the main Milsurp dealers, Classic, RTI, everybody. They all have Carcanos right now because it's the cheap import. So
I even saw one at Cabela's.
The really weird that it's really weird to see M88s are super common right now.
Really?
Well, that's because it's one of the big hauls from the Ethiopian cache from RTI, and they were stupid. They went on sale there a couple times where they were like $150, $200 or something like that.
Yeah.
Wall hanger. Who knows?
Something you would see would be like, oh, that's pretty hard to find. An 8890? No, not right now.
Yeah. It's kind of
for a long time too. Like you didn't really see many Mosquetos or any TS carbines or anything like that for not really any big on the market. But when the new imports came in from both Italy and Ethiopia, like it just blew up the market like no other. Like some of the Carcanos I have are pre that time, so like they don't have import marks or they're earlier import. But now, like you said, every other post you see on Reddit or whatever Facebook group is a Carcano or something.
Yeah. Which I feel like that is a kind of a good segue into our topic for the day. So the idea for this topic I got from a guy reached out to me on Instagram, Brendan. He basically asked the question of how might young guys get into the collecting market? And so that's what our topic is going to be today. Break it down into a couple categories. But starting it off, with knowledge, because knowledge is power. And I would say, I think we could all pretty much agree, if somebody's just deciding, say you're starting off with 0 Milsurps and you want to get into Milsurps, knowledge is the first thing you have to get before you're going to look at anything or even think about buying anything, which is, you'd be surprised the amount of people that don't do that. So it sounds common sense, but.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you don't, like, you don't have to, but if you want to actually do it the right way and not get burnt, that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Some, they just want the one gun and they don't care. That's about it, you know?
Yeah, there are some people like that. They just get one or whatever. Like, my wife and I were just talking about that because, like, somebody, I think we were talking about somebody who had like five Milsurps. And we were like, wait, is that a collector? Is that a collection? You know, because it's like, because some people only want that, but it's, you know, is that a person's definition of getting into the collecting market? Maybe that's all they want. I wish that's all I wanted. I have a disease, but so pretty much gaining knowledge now. I'm kind of guilty of this. I'm going to say it's hard for me to gain specific knowledge of a certain gun before a purchase, and I know that's not wise, but it's really hard for me to try to learn about, like, oh, well, I guess my recent purchase, it's not a Milsurp. I bought a Colt, like a vintage, like early 80s Colt rifle. And I didn't really know much about them. I saw it. I didn't do any like beforehand knowledge, you know, research about this. I just saw it, did some searching on, you know, sold listings and kind of saw that it was a really good deal. So then I bought it. So I kind of fall guilty in that. And now that I bought it, then I am like more motivated to do research on a specific, you know, firearm. And now I know a lot more about it after I bought it. I just kind of learned that I do that a whole lot. Like even like my broom handle Red 9, didn't know much about broom handles at all before I bought that thing. I just knew it was a good deal and I should get it. It was original or whatever, so I bought it. And then I sort of afterwards.
The 35M.
Yeah. 35M. The first one. Yeah.
I need to go back and get it because I was like, "Are you a dumbass?"
Well, sort of. I was driving through Idaho, and I had already left the place when you were like, buy it. I was on my way to Washington, and but on the way, like driving back to Utah from Washington, I stopped in Boise. That was a good shop. Wish I could go back there, but so yeah, knowledge. Probably. So the thing about trying to get knowledge, I would say beforehand, is that it's hard to learn everything. Because it's very easy. Like I know somebody who likes to say, like, read a book. Like if a new person's asking a question about a gun or whatever, I know Aaron knows who I'm talking about. He's just like, read a book. Just buy a book. Read a book. Oh, you want to buy that Luger? Then buy a Luger book and read it, you know, on Lugers before you buy that gun.
Yeah, but the gun might be gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you never know what you're going to come across. And I think a lot of times with people, it's just about what happens to come up. And most people don't know everything about everything. So when that certain thing pops up, you know, you could get in your mind that you're going to learn, you know, you're going to, I don't know, get into like German stuff or whatever. And then you come across an Arasaka that's a good deal. And then you don't know anything about it because you focused on something else. So it's kind of hard to do that research beforehand. I think that really just comes from being in the hobby for years.
Knowledge, though, is coming from experience, though.
It is experience.
A lot of that is just like, oh, how much does a Milsurp rifle normally run? You know, how much am I willing to pay? And then if it's coming in below that amount, then you're like, oh, that is a really good deal.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's definitely experience and just checking the market too. But if you're a new collector like that, like you may not have that ability to get a book or whatever, maybe because maybe that book is $350 and it's out of print.
Exactly.
Like Luger's was.
Or they don't exist.
Luger's was the one in question. Like really, the only good Luger books out there that will tell you information are either out of print or they're an exorbitant amount of money for the new collector. So there are a lot of books out there that do help, but they're not going to go into the details, the weeds that you would want to know prior to purchasing. Biggest thing though is just know enough to be dangerous, really, when it comes down to it. Like, don't be the expert, but know enough to know, like, oh, I know the general idea of serial number, these parts, they look like they're this time frame, so it may be correct, whatever it may be. That's really what you can do as the newer collector if you don't have the resources. The internet's great nowadays because you can look up all that stuff. Yes, some of it may not be true or maybe misleading, but if you're truly passionate about it, you can dig deep or dig enough to be dangerous, you know?
Something else to bring up along those lines is you may not be the one who knows, but you might know someone who knows. So in the 1913 example, it was $350. I'm like, that seems low, but I don't know. I asked Danny.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's the deal with this? Like, this is this right? Is this wrong? Like, this feels low, and he's go back in there and buy it right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was immediate. Like, do not even think about it. Just go pay the money. It's like, oh, okay. We'll talk about it on the way home. Yeah, that's fine. So even if you don't know, you probably have some friends who do this, because you'll make friends and they'll know.
Yeah, that's a great plug for like the Discord community that we have and everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or just any Facebook group or people that you are comfortable talking with and everything. I know my brother, I talk to him constantly about stuff like that, back and forth. I talk to the guys on Discord back and forth, whatever groups that I'm in, sub forums, internet, everything like that. There's someone out there that does know that you can reach out to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I got to say, Reddit and Facebook groups are going to be pretty dang hit or miss, especially if it's something really, really niche, because you'll post on there and probably 80% of your replies is going to be just garbage. Yeah.
Check out this meme. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but if you end up getting hooked up with some people that you're friends with, that can that might be your avenue to get that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I knew somebody and I used to reach out to. And apparently I bugged the shit out of him and I can't reach out to him anymore. So got to do that and do it in, the right amounts or whatever. But
you don't care about being bugged the shit out of.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good little tip here is to get into the community. If you're looking at collecting, get into the collecting community, meet some people, get to know some people that you can ask questions. And, that's maybe slightly even more valuable than owning every single book in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the pros, I guess pros and cons of learning after, like I kind of said, is that, it's riskier when you buy, but it is far less boring, at least in my case, it is far less boring to learn about a gun if it's like abstract. I mean, if there's like one that you super want, like I really wanted a French 1950. So I did all the research beforehand, but, you don't always know what you want. A lot of times it's like what you just happen to come across at a gun store or gun show or whatever. So obviously if you know what you want, then, research on that one thing. If it's pretty small sort of thing, but, if it's a broad topic,
at least another thing to go into that is community as well as like focus as well. Like if you can have a focus, like I love American military surplus, or I love whatever, insert country, insert type of action, rifle, pistol, whatever it may be. That may also, no, but that may also help you focus in the area of where you want to go down, and then also allows you really research that area or join that community specifically versus just getting a shotgun blast of everything.
Yeah. Join that specific, like if you're into US or you're into Swedes or whatever, join a specific like group just for that instead of just like
experts out there too. So
yeah, there are. Yeah.
Who are actually trusted.
Yeah. Some of them are fairly accessible, So, okay. Knowledge. Anyone have anything before we go on?
Knowledge is power. Information. Information is ammunition. That's for my people that are fans of the BattleTech cartoon show that was short-lived. That was their slogan. Information is ammunition.
That's good. Thanks for that throwback, Aaron. All right.
It was a very short-lived cartoon show.
So now for the people, for the young guys that might be looking into getting into the collecting market, I think you have a question to ask yourself, which you might not know, and that's fine. But you want to kind of try to figure out what type of milsurp you want to get into. You can get into non-guns. We talk about guns here mostly, but I mean we could talk about other things. Like I have a good friend who. Like Sam, he collects a ton of bayonets primarily. I have a good
uniforms?
he collects like a specific type of uniform, like I think just a couple, but like I have a good friend who lives local here in KC, and he collects uniforms from like all around the world, and he has like a bunch of them, and he knows like fabric and camo patterns and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty neat. So you can do stuff like that too. But firearms specifically, you got the question really kind of, rifles or pistols if you're talking about military. And then era, genre, maker, and country is probably kind of the big splits. So
caliber too.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people who start off collecting just based on caliber. I think when you get into collecting, like I would bet like most people that are like 6'5", Swede, nuts or whatever, which I met a couple of those at Tulsa. They were pretty funny. I
would argue that you might have somebody that is into firearms but has not started into milsurp collecting, and then from them they're like, well, I want something that a caliber that I already shoot.
Yeah, maybe.
That I already have.
But as a young guy getting into collecting market perspective.
Okay. Yeah, you don't really know because a lot of the calibers you haven't shot yet because you're not in that market yet, or in that community yet. So caliber could be a little bit out there just because they may not even know.
Cheap.
6.5
and available.
Yeah, cheap available. 6.5 is great to shoot, but you've never shot a 6.5 because all you shot is 30-06 in your life. You just don't know it yet.
6.5 Creedmoor.
PRC 6.5 PRC is the new, apparently. The kids are going crazy.
Man, I just need to bring back 6.5 Swede. I want an AR-10 chambered in 6.5 Swede.
We're talking about AR and 6.5 Carcano.
yeah. That was funny. I'm trying to get that barrel for my M1 and 7mm, but I'm on the list to get a 6.5 Swede M1 barrel. So that's on my it's on my long-term project list to do.
8x56.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I will sit here and I will tell everybody, and I'm leaning into the mic so everybody hears this, is I have never once said that was a great action or a great caliber or a great round. I've never once said this.
Would you say because
what?
It's like a mule?
Got it.
This guy's great. It's like me. Just talking with him.
Yeah, who is this guy? Like the homeless Othnius over here.
Because I don't have flannel? What the hell, man?
And a hat. He's coming in hard. I like it. No mercy.
That's good. Little milsurp roast.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, that was funny.
Where were we?
I don't even know.
Types of milsurps to get into. I didn't like, so caliber we were just talking about, I didn't even think about that at all. Unless you just like happen to come across a stash of cheap whatever caliber. I didn't collect stuff in that caliber, but probably for the most part, they're not going to have a caliber bias to begin with. I think collectors pick up those after you buy a few or whatever.
That tends to come second.
So you might think, so quickly talk about if you want to get into rifles or pistols. I was a big rifle, no pistols for a long time. And for some reason, a switch happened and I've just gone into pistols. I don't know why, but that sort of happened to me. But it's kind of decide which one you want to do, or maybe both. It's a lot easier to collect pistols. It's a lot easier. They're
a lot smaller.
It's a lot easier to take 10 pistols at the range, or to move with pistols versus all rifle collection or whatever. That's a big plus over pistols. But I always feel like it's kind of weird. It's interesting how many like handguns and rifles are like the same exact price. Like you don't get like a discount because it's a lot extra steel and wood in a rifle, but it's not like it's substantially more money for all the extra like wood and steel. I don't know if that makes any sense. But
it's production numbers versus what's on the market, man.
Yeah, so you kind of maybe, I don't know, maybe there's slightly more utility in a Milsurp rifle than there are in handguns, because a lot of the handguns are pretty dated, especially pre-1945. I'm talking about specifically, like maybe shouldn't carry to trust your life on for the most part, but like you could get
what are you talking?
You could get like any Mauser made by any country probably, and just get ammo for it, and you have a good ranch gun, going out to the woods gun, truck rifle, or whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like there's more utility in a Milsurp rifle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely more utility because, again, bolt action rifles are still common today, hunting, all that stuff. Where Milsurp pistols, like I'm not going to take something out for self defense or to go kill a snake or something like that on my property or something like that. I'm definitely going to take something different than that.
I would say it's akin to like a rifle is more like a car and a pistol is more like a motorcycle. It's like one. Well, they're both accomplishing the same thing, but one is much more niche in what it's trying to do.
Yeah. Like when I lived in Florida, out in the country, I could carry a rifle with me around. I shot a rattlesnake in the head one time with a K98K at like 50 yards or something. My wife saw it. I shot a lot of hogs with my M1 rifle, US caliber 30 M1. So I think there is some sort of utility there with rifles, maybe over pistols, but sort of pros and cons.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It seems like, I don't know if this is a thing, it seems like a lot of the higher end, like old collectors that I meet do mostly pistols. I don't know if you guys have run into that too.
It's a lot easier to store.
I can see that too. With easier to store, as well as like you can find pistols in a lot nicer condition too. I feel like, so you do have those people who are pistol collectors because they have the most pristine examples, while rifles more utilitarian to where you can use them for everyday things, where pistols are only brought out for the certain circumstances. So
yeah, that's a good point.
The situation too, where pistols, for a large part, were, especially World War I and some of World War II, it's like you were allowed to bring your own, so you're not going to treat your own property badly, So that would make more sense that they would be in better condition. Mm-hmm. Plus, they're not generally issued to the average grunt, so then you're going to have officers who are going to take better care of them.
Yeah.
So
I heard
slap all the time, or whatever it may be. The blood pitting that you see, the puddles of blood that
in
you
the
see.
blood channel, the blood channel on the bayonet.
So I heard this. I've never had it like verified that anybody that knows, but I heard that in World War II, GIs were allowed to carry captured pistols. Don't know if this was true. So like a American soldier issued just a rifle. If they came across a German pistol, cool, they now have a sidearm, where before they didn't have a sidearm. And it does have, having a sidearm does have some value. So,
I mean, it was obviously prized to get a Luger, but that's like the same situation as well, is that it was a lot easier to transport home a captured pistol than it would be a rifle.
Yeah, they did send a lot of, I think it was free. It was either free or pretty cheap, because I know they had like the C-47s or whatever, like whole planes that did nothing but send guns from Europe back to the United States.
Primary mail transport, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the note of like them carrying it as sidearms after that, I mean, I could definitely see that, because on the front lines, are you really going to care what you have on your hip, or is someone else thinking what you have on the hip in the thick of it? So,
and they went up against. Oh, sorry, Aaron. Okay, they went up against the German army, which was very pistol heavy, so they were everywhere. Like MG1, MG2 carried pistols.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy in the front had a pistol, and two guys in the squad had a pistol, at least, in every squad. And it wasn't just like an officer thing. Like MG1 and MG2s were not officers; they were just regular dudes.
Yeah, and the officer and the sergeant had one.
Yeah, the Ushas had them. Like it's they run into a lot of pistols. Where like versus the Japanese army on the other side of the world, that was an officer's gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably going to get chastised for saying that, but for the most part,
you got to be wrong about something every podcast.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick this one. Yeah, let's pick this one. Fuck it. All right. Japs didn't have as many fucking pistols versus the Germans. I'll die on this hill. All right. But like that, they're more available to them was kind of the point that I was getting at.
Yeah, I have it's either P38 or a high power holster, German World War II soft leather, not like the hard one, and it's been modified to go onto a GI belt. So like the back of it has like the cloth or canvas piece or whatever with the little metal dangly bits on it. I don't know, like the American hardware setup, but it's been modified for that. And somebody's theorized that a GI did that after the war so they could wear the pistol on them, because it was permitted to wear captured pistols.
I don't know if it was permitted, but I don't think anybody would.
Oh yeah, or unofficially. Yeah, unofficially.
No one gave a shit.
Yeah, maybe more like that. Yeah.
Can you shoot? Yes, here's a gun.
The only reason why I could think it would be a problem would be just ammo availability. Like 9mm was not the go-to during World War II or World War I for the U.S. Well, it was for other countries. So ammo availability would be the only thing I would see that they would be of concern.
But after a lot of those battles, I bet there'd be a lot laying around.
Yeah, one stick mag of 9mm, 32 rounds. Like,
yeah, but it's the fact that now you have to go collect it yourself versus it being supplied to you.
They're Americans. They're looting the shit out of everyone. Okay, it's my birthright to burn gasoline in my V8
Manifest destiny. Let's just hit all the buzzwords, guys.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I know it was like it's against the Geneva Convention or whatever, but I know like we brought back silverware and shit, like from houses and everything. We brought back everything.
We said this major battle. What are we gonna do, guys? I don't know. Let's go take all their shit.
I talked about this. My dad was in Vietnam. There was a mess sergeant in Vietnam that would pay bounties on AKs and SKSs, and he would smuggle them back to the U.S. That was in 69, 70, so it's like, you guarantee that shit keeps going on now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We just rolled over to this town. What are we going to do, guys? I mean, that guy's got some cool shit, and he's dead, so I'm going to go see what he got. Like, maybe some of his buddies. Like,
who knows what they got stashed?
Yeah.
I'm going to carry this pistol.
Those loot stories are interesting from from vets when you talk to them. I know a Vietnam vet, and I don't think he brought home just like random stuff. Oh, he brought home a South Vietnamese flag because he thought they would lose, and then the South Vietnamese flag would be worth a lot of money. Or opposite, North. Brought home a North Vietnamese flag. I was thinking of Korea. So, or did I get that backwards again?
Korea has two.
He brought back the flag that won in Vietnam.
The North.
And because he thought, so he thought that would be worth a lot of money. And so he's like, fuck, I would have brought home a South Vietnamese flag if I would have known that.
I would still think North Vietnamese would be more expensive or worth more just because they're quote unquote the bad guys. So,
I mean, it also, I think the flag itself changed after it became a single unified country. So,
I saw a supposed vintage North Vietnamese flag for like $60 at the last collector show here in Kansas City. I don't think they go for as much. It's hard to tell because like they didn't have like a set production or whatever. It wasn't like the Germans.
And I also heard like post-war or like during R&R, like they had a lot of repros made for GIs to bring back home as a souvenir in a sense. So they're fake, made there over in Vietnam, but they're fake for just
those are what, XP stores or something like that? X something.
Japanese did that too, I'm pretty sure.
I was going to say that happened in Germany hardcore after World War II. A lot of the places like the metal makers just kept making them after the war for souvenirs.
And those they didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same because I've seen like North Vietnamese flags that were clearly like post-war fakes that GI still brought home, but later down the market, secondhand, they were sold as originals. But
yeah, that's tough. That's how you get people walking around with. My dad brought this Spanish Mauser home from World War II,
and it's import.
And it's import marked, and it's in 762 by 51. And, yeah. So the last of the three here that I got are budget picks. I know we could probably spend a bit of time on this one, but budget picks, which we're just gonna say is under 500. This is for pre-1945 guns. I have just 4 kind of picked out here, which I'm kind of surprised, and it's going up there to 5. But Swiss 1911 rifle and carbines, I'm still finding.
That's the first one I was thinking of. First one I was thinking of was K11s. Yep.
Yeah, you could still find. I'm surprised. Like on Simpson on their website, they're still popping up under 500 fairly often.
Even Edelweiss still has them pretty frequently for under 5.
Yeah, I think they're the 2 most prominent for Swiss rifles right now, and I see them all the time for under 500.
Yeah, everybody. They're great quality, great shooters. Everybody just kind of wants the K31s. So I think that like especially the K11 is like, because like why would you get a K11 if you could get a K31? Because the K31 is more accurate and longer barrel and shorter action and everything, lighter. So that kind of means that you could score a 1911 rifle or carbine for under 500.
Yeah, the only problem would be ammo availability, really.
Yeah, which is kind of be a chronic issue with all of these here. The next one on the list was going to be Carcanos and Italian stuff in general, which is just what's the quote? Surrender all hope, ye who enter here, for Carcanos, because you will not find 6.5 Carcano right now.
Yeah, no ammo, but great niche to go down the rabbit hole on because they are cheap. So.
Yeah, they're cheap. Tons of variations. You could, you could try to. Yeah, the carbines are real tiny, real tiny. Like just 18, under 18, like 17, just under 18 inches. Because I saw recently a Carcano that had a barrel extension on it because it was imported back in the 60s or whatever when the barrel length was 18 inches.
Is there a Swede like that?
Yeah, M94s are that way. But I came across a Carcano that was that way. It was a Bavarian police use Carcano.
Oh.
I should have bought it, but it had a barrel extension on it. They all have barrel extensions on it because of when they were imported.
Was it just like the M94 to where they just welded on a few?
I think so.
Centimeters?
I think so. It looked like it. Yeah, it looked kind of crude. It looked like it was slightly bigger in diameter than the barrel, so it kind of like went out at the end a little bit. But yeah,
that's interesting.
So it's pretty collectible. I'm sure Frantic would agree that Italian stuff in general is kind of undervalued. You could score you one of those, whatever the 6.5 Carcanos. I can't remember all those numbers that the 6.5 Carcanos are called. The 87/94/814/24. Yeah, the Vetterli.
Oh.
What did I say?
You said Carcano.
Oh shit! No, the 6.5 Vetterlis.
Vetterlis
sorry.
are different. Yeah.
They are the Vetterli with the action.
Vetterli Monlicker.
Ooh, actually.
Yeah. So those are cheap. Those are when I find those, like people.
I'm potentially explodey, but whatever,
Yeah, which that's a myth Frantic is fighting against. We need to have him on one time and talk about this because he's fighting. Apparently, there's nuance.
We'll load some 6.5 into the peak velocity and see what happens.
So he reloads and shoots his. So we'll have him on. And we'll save this one for a future.
We also had a guy in one of our group chats, Danny, that shot commercial 6.5 out of his Vetterli.
Zach did that. Yeah,
dead. He's not dead yet, but we were pretty sure we were going to hear about it.
I'm gonna
He's
split
still
that hair.
alive, I think.
Some of it actually has to do with bore diameter and the projectiles that you use.
Like I said, Frantic knows all about this, and he was getting into like the nitty gritty, the bore diameter, and reloading, and it's whatever. There's lots. I'd like him to talk about it because he's the big Italian collector. But
well, it's not going to help matters that Seeing Arsenal had 2 blow up.
Yeah, so this is his crusade because anytime he talks about it or shows off his rifles, people post that video and say your rifle gonna blow up. Seeing Arsenal done blown up 2 of theirs, and so that's his like pet peeve.
It's almost one of the most common things that people post about the Lee Navy too. It's like, oh, you got a Lee Navy? Watch out! It killed a guy. I'm like,
but
okay.
Did the guy have a sight hood on his?
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know, man. You weren't there.
That's the kicker, Aaron.
Yeah.
Sight hood or not?
I had a guy get on to me today because my M95s didn't have sight hoods, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Not a collector. Not a true guy.
Or slings.
Bullshit. Kicking like mule whatnots.
All right, here's another one. Last ditch Type 99s.
They're fine. They're fine. Here's why I say that.
Man. Fence post.
Tomato steaks.
Idiot would give a rifle to someone of his own nation, expecting them to shoot other people who are aggressors to that nation and have it fail? No one. You know why? That's a stupid idea.
Late war Germany.
Michael, I need to know why you're making that face.
The Japanese.
All that comes from the training rifles.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that the same people that misinterpreted the knee mortar
Yes.
actually think that you should launch a mortar off your leg?
Off your knee. Yes.
They got something else wrong?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Mind blowing, I know.
Yeah. But I've seen quite a few cheap last ditch Type 99s with scrubbed mums. It seems like they're like the just redheaded step kids at these gun shows because you'll find them and just kind of nobody really wants them. They're pretty common. The neat thing is, like, they're all bringbacks, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're all bringbacks. Like, everybody loves talking about bringbacks, and it's like, oh, is that a bringback? And whatever. And here's my gun for sale. It's a bring back, but it's like, all Arisakas are bringbacks. You know,
you get the guys that are like, no, capture gun. It's a capture gun. It's like,
yeah. But I mean,
they're all capture guns.
All the Type 99s that you see that are last ditch in a sense are 350 to 450 right now at the most. Anything over that's not selling. But again, it comes down to ammo availability. So it's just hard to get into that if you
but
are
also perceived quality too. Because they're rougher looking,
they are.
That's going to lower the price.
Yeah. They are. And so let's say you got two on a table. One's 354 and the other one is 657. One is a shit looking POS last ditch rifle. One has all the Gucci shit on it. Which one are you going to buy? I'm going to buy the one with the Gucci shit on it because it's going to be worth more money in the long term. Like,
but it comes back to
starting
first topic we were talking about today. No.
Oh, buy the capture gun, man. Yo, you cheap, buy the capture gun. Like, you capture gun. All right.
But Danny, I'm gonna have to bring it back to if we're talking ammo availability, it is still non-existent.
Yeah, but I feel like you get into a certain.
Talk to me.
Okay, more companies are making 6.5 Carcano on paper than 7.7 Japanese, but you're gonna have a pretty equally hard time on finding either one of those.
Yeah. I wasn't disagreeing. I'm saying that either one is going to be difficult. But
you'll find this.
Go ahead, Mike.
You'll find the 6.5 Carcano. It's just, do you want to pay the price when a box costs a third of the rifle? So,
or you get the surplus stuff, which is kind of click bangy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Aaron. Go ahead.
I don't remember what I was going to talk about.
Typical. It's okay.
Goldfish. What?
Nothing.
All right. Next, the rifle everybody loves or loves to hate, the Mosin.
They've gone up.
I feel like they're getting pretty close to that 500 range. I don't think you can get a fin for under 5.
No, not a good fin.
You can get like a Chinese M44 or like a 9130
I'm sorry.
under 500.
Are you saying a Type 53?
Yeah, about 400 for average price across the board.
Yeah, you're right,
Yes,
Aaron.
Aaron.
It is a Type 53.
It's Type 53. It is, yeah. Maybe you can try to buy a Type 53 and you'll luck into something cool, like a Romanian or Hungarian.
The Type 53s are usually beat to crap. That's why they usually are. And the Chinese stigma of quality in the U.S. market is gonna keep those depressed for longer.
I
like Chinese guns, man. I think they're pretty neat.
Is the problem, you know?
It's going away with Mausers. Dude, Chinese Mausers have shot up. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like that one?
I've seen more of those recently, like just random people posting about it or talking about it. Chinese Mausers, especially C96s or some sort of variant, some Bolo.
Oh, yeah, those two. But like rifle-wise, I just recently saw it was like a one of the German contract K98Ks for the Chinese, and it just sold on Gunbroker for like $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that. And it was like rough, and I was like, what in the world? That, and I saw a couple other like Shikai Sheks that sold for like in the thousands again. Like it just is like, what? Like those just kind of exploded out of nowhere. I don't really know what's going on with those right now, but probably is this a little bit of Ian effect maybe, like with his book, like his Chinese warlords book.
I mean, there's always a little bit of that. Yeah, I agree. But again, that's people who are in the know. But I mean, everybody can access YouTube and Forgotten Weapons for the most part. So
yeah,
I don't know.
But I think you're going to get a little cross-pollination where you get like guys into Chinese warlord pistols and then they go into Chinese Mausers and whatever. Maybe. But that's something kind of interesting.
I would say they're still too uncommon to be an item that could be affected as much by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still very you don't see warlord pistols out there. unless they're in a private collection somewhere, typically. With the exception of a C96, because those were actually contracted out, but those weren't really Warlord in a sense. But yeah, definitely the Chiang Kai-shek, Mausers, and all that stuff. That's usually what you'll see on the market.
Yeah. And then here we go. Aaron, you mentioned this earlier. Random military 32s.
Pistols, yeah.
Yeah, pistols, yeah.
You can.
I actually...
Danny's really into them, and every time he's brought it up, he's like, "These are so cheap," and I'm like, "I don't understand."
Yeah,
they're all there. They're all legit military contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would even add to that, Spanish revolvers, Spanish-made revolvers for like, they made them for like the French and shit.
Oh
But
yeah.
The store that I go to, they had like 9 of them. Like, why do y'all need this many high bar pistols? They're, you know, they're in like 3220, which is basically 8 Lebel. It's not, but it's close. But they had a bunch of them along the same lines. Like, I don't want these, but that's cool. I'm sure they have like 2 or 3 of them that are really rare too.
Yeah,
I never know.
I just saw one. I just looked it up. It's sold, but it's a Spanish-made Smith & Wesson clone in 8mm French ordnance, and it has capture papers where it was brought back by a U.S. GI during World War II, or after World War II.
Sell for?
Like $400 or something. It was cheap. It doesn't have the price anymore, but
yeah. But see, that's the thing, is that the market just isn't there for those.
Yeah, but if you want to collect a bunch of cool shit for cheap.
Yeah.
Good place to start.
Yes.
Either pistol is a good place to
Spanish
start.
copies. Spanish military copies, yeah.
What's the 1935s? Aren't those still pretty cheap too?
The French guns?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're above 500.
Yeah, they're 6 to 7 on condition.
What about the S's though?
Yeah, S's are a little bit less. But I mean, generally, they're probably hovering right above the $500 mark.
I guess it's been a little bit since I've looked at them.
It's the ammo for the 35s. 32, was it 32 French long? Or 30?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 32. It's just the ammo availability for that as well. So 32 ACP in general is a little bit more doable in a sense.
Oh, if I had to collect any of those, I would agree with Aaron. The cheap 32s.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy 32.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many.
I was telling Danny, too, like, anytime I've ever shown anybody, and even non-gun people, like, a video of the slow-mo of the Frommer, the stop.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, that's so cool. Like, it's a, you know, a neat action or anything like that. That's just 32. I mean, it's 32 hot or whatever, but whatever.
That's
yeah.
32.
Yeah, that pistol was real finicky. I had to go through a few different brands before it would cycle with one. Cycled with S&B.
I almost got a 32 or a Frommer the other day. It was actually a German contract one, but it was just a little bit over my price range. So that one went for like, I think 700 or something like that. A little bit.
I would have done it, man.
I would have bought that for 7.
It's more the fact that I just completely forgot about the auction too.
Oh, yeah, one of those.
I've been there.
Yeah.
30 minutes. I had an alarm set on my phone and everything, but I missed it by like 30 minutes.
Oh, that sucks.
So, yeah, I think it went for like $780, I think. And with my recent purchases, I wasn't able to cut it, I don't think.
Yeah, that's kind of tough, especially if you live in a state where you got to pay the tax, the sales tax with your gun broker purchase.
Oh, yeah. In Virginia, I'm looking at $50 to $60 extra on top of shipping, on top of the gun to pay for taxes, and it's killing me right now.
Yeah, that sucks. Luckily, man, Missouri, good old Missouri, I don't have to pay that.
No, you do. You're supposed to pay it, Danny, but they just don't charge you up front.
They'll always get you.
No, I bet you're legally supposed to pay it.
Yo, it ain't my fault.
At the end of the year when you file your taxes, I bet you'll be like, oh, yeah, I definitely bought all these things online, and I definitely am going to give you extra money now, State.
stuffing hundreds into bills.
All right.
But-
What? You have another something next?
No, that was my last under 500
I
random.
still have some under 5.
Honorable mention though. Turk Mausers.
That was gonna be one of my
Turks, yeah.
They just like Carcanos recently. Like I haven't seen a Turk over 350 in that actually sold in years.
Also the 88s.
Mm-hmm. And then ammo, probably the best.
And you can shoot.
There's people making the bolt heads for.
For 88s.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
I was going to say, if you get a Turk Mauser, it's invulnerable to the hot Turkish 8mm, so you don't have to worry about, because you never see Turk Mausers with their stocks cracked. So, therefore, they have a magic aura around them that protects them, kind of like Superman's cape. yeah, or the Gewehr 88s. Being Turkish, it gives them a special aura that protects them from the spicy 8mm that they shoot. So, what'd you say, Michael?
It's K98's kryptonite, though.
Oh yeah. If it's sitting next to a K98K, the stock might crack. Just in the same room. Yeah.
You had to keep them separate.
Yeah.
So,
like prom dates.
So I had to discuss this with Danny. I still don't consider the M95 a beginner level, so I wouldn't. That's why you're not seeing me recommend it. That's going to almost require you to be a reloader, and that's not what I would consider a beginner level entry thing. If you're requiring somebody to reload, I don't think you can list that as beginner, even though the average price range for the M9530s, M9534s, in 8x56R is between 3 to 5 right now. I still don't see that being a good start for somebody, but I mean, there's somewhat commercially available ammunition for it, but you have to have clips. You have to have like certain items. Similar to the Carcano, the Carcanos are still so much cheaper though. That's the big difference I have is allowing the Carcano, is that because RTI was selling them for like $99 or something.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck, man? Just roll the dice, right? Just buy 5, whatever.
And honestly, if you're going to get into reloading, so let's say you bought an M95, right? And you were like, I'm going to get into reloading and I'm going to have this. You're going to have as much money in this stuff to reload for it as you are the rifle.
Yeah,
at least your first one.
Be prepared for that, yeah.
Yeah, at least your first one. Because you ain't going to have brass, and you can have bullets, and you can have none of the stuff.
I just exclusively shoot the Nazi 8mm out of my M95s.
Yes.
It kicks like a mule.
Yes.
Extra.
See, if I own it, then it's not as big of a deal.
Kicks like a Nazi mule.
Yeah. I still put it as intermediate level because the reloading components are much more common. When you get into like what expert level would be like original 8x50R, because that means you're buying. You're having to modify ammunition. Yeah, you're having to do other stuff.
Just don't buy an original 8x50 M95 if you're going to get into it. Get one in 8x56. Like
Danny had one in 8x50, and he's like, "What do I do with this thing?"
I don't want it. I can't reload for it. So I got a long rifle in 8x56. The extra whatever purity of an 8x50 doesn't really do anything for me. I'd rather have the shootability.
I took it.
Yeah.
I got one in 8x50, and I got like 30 original ones from 1900 that I want to try out one day. But yeah, I have plenty of 8x56R and 2 rifles with that. So
yeah,
my 8x50 was more just to fill the hole in the collection, and I actually had 30 to 40 rounds available. So I said, "Why?" So. Yeah,
that's like you have to like chrono that when you do originally shoot the original ammo, because chrono it and then maybe pull a couple and weigh them and weigh the powder and do all that for science. I feel like
the other ones I'd recommend, and we always harp on this. I know we bring it up every time. South American Mausers.
They've gone up.
7mm is still available.
I purposely did not mention South American Mausers anymore because this is what I did.
I don't disagree. I went because I still think the 1895 Chileans are still under 5.
I haven't seen.
Not recently.
I haven't seen one
Really?
under 5 anymore, man.
The last Argentina I picked up was 650.
Yeah, they're like 5, 6 plus. Yeah.
The reason why could be is condition. A lot of them you'll find in nice condition, and
build quality is better too.
To the new collector, when you see one in nicer condition, they're going to go for that one. So it's driving price up possibly.
And there's too many assholes on YouTube talking about how great they are. So
yeah,
well, the prices have gone up. Yeah.
See, the funny thing was I wasn't going to recommend one in 765 because 765 is just not available. It really is. I mean, it's PPU or you're basically
it's PPU. Yeah, but
so 7mm is still pretty common.
But the cheapest 7mm guns you're going to get are like the shit Brazilian ones. I don't mean that.
We're starting out, remember?
Right,
the same tier here is the $99 Carcano.
But the cheapest
Type 53 Chinese, we're like the Turkish Mauser. Yeah, we're all shit tier.
No, I know we're shit tier, but the shit tier 7mm Brazilian guns are still over $500.
Yeah, the 1908 Brazilians are over 500. You might luck up and get like a rough, pitted, rusty, dirty like 1894, but then
or like a
1922. Are the 30-06 conversions going over 5 now too?
The what?
The 30-06 conversions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're over 5. They're like there's 5.
I haven't seen a 308 Chilean in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many of those now that I think about it.
1912s, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen too many of them.
Yeah.
But the 1895s, for some reason, there was like a period of like 7 or 8 months where like 17 or 20 something people I saw had gotten a hold of one of them. And I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1895 shot up. I swear it's been like a year because I went to Tulsa, and I could have bought 12 if I wanted to for like $350 a piece or something like that.
Yeah, those
were all gone, and every one I see is over $500 now and selling. Like I saw one sell in front of me for $650. It was a nice 1895. So yeah. Like I was just looking through all my South American ones, trying to think of one that's under 5 now, and I just couldn't think of one.
A year ago or a year and a half ago, I'm like, oh yeah, 1891s, no problem. Wouldn't even bat an eye. Like, $400 maybe, $650.
Yeah,
for a shitty with no crest. It's weird.
That's probably the one you could luck into the most. Is probably a no crest 1891. You could luck up and find one for under 5. But I feel like reliably under 5, it'd be kind of hard.
And honestly, if you do buy it, just buy it. Wait a year.
What are the? I'm just trying to think of something. What are the Yugos going for now?
The 48s,
or the
24. Yeah,
24-47s.
Yeah. I think I sold mine 2 years ago for almost 600. I want to say
48s command a different price point because of their quality.
Yeah. Unissued things.
The 24-47s tend to be pretty rough, from what I recall.
They made a 52 as well. There was like a 52C or some shit. There was a weird one.
Oh, but yeah.
They're all north of like 5.
Yeah, but
they're like 5 or north.
They're plateaued around just north of 5. So
yeah,
you can luck up.
Because I thought the same thing when he told me earlier, like, oh yeah, it's guns that are under 500. I'm like, 48s. I'm like,
Yeah,
48s I wouldn't have considered just because of the quality, the condition that they're known for. That's what's propping up their price.
Yeah.
Unless you get really lucky and find somebody that has got a dumb has found the Mitchell Mauser certificate, and then you can be like, oh yeah, $300.
Yeah. For the new collectors out there, don't buy a Mitchell's Mauser.
No.
Yeah, that's good to know.
The 48s are okay. I was told that they did not. There's no evidence of them glossing up the 48s. The K98Ks, on the other hand,
Damn, death's heads on them. Like,
I would still be hesitant about any Mitchell's Mauser, even if it was a 48. But because there's so many that you can buy that aren't Mitchell's Mauser 48s. You know? Yeah. But rule of thumb, food for thought.
Yeah.
There's nothing Czech.
VZ24s are usually pretty high now.
They're getting into the bottom of the barrel VZ24s, 550, 600. The ones with crests, with intact crests, are still $700 now. From what I've seen.
Yep.
I'm just trying to think.
Ammo's cheap.
Ammo is cheap.
Relative to what 2022.
So are we saying number 4s and Mark III and SMLEs are north of 500 now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Easy.
yeah.
Easy.
That's the most surprising part about number 4s.
Yeah, I got my number 4. I think a while ago I said I'll never get an M90, or excuse me, a number 4, just because they're so expensive now. But I recently got it for Long Branch because it was $450. I lucked in, but everything else I've seen is always north of 500, looking at almost $600-700.
Spanish, some Spanish guns are low.
Oh yeah,
Spanish Mausers are usually low.
That's a good choice.
Yeah,
and you can even get the 7.62 conversions.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're
the Spanish goes with like the Turk Mausers where they just plateaued at like 350.
Yep, that's what I was.
Yeah, they kind of don't get no respect.
The only ones
43s
that you get
and stuff
in that group are like the original 1893s that are expensive, or the FR7, FR8 conversions. Those have gone up in price.
Yeah.
Yeah, weirdly. Yeah, I noticed that too.
I guess it's just the design, but like it's cool looking. I would like to have one. I think they're neat looking, especially the FR8s. But I've noticed that the FR8s have been showing up more on like social media stuff I'm in. For some reason they've been posting. People have posted more of those lately for some reason. Have you ever found out where all the Spanish destroyer bolts are?
I'm actually thinking about that the other day.
Right in the Bay of Biscay.
The destroyer bolts.
I think you can still buy a rifle for like $20.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those.
For those that don't understand that joke, I don't know who has them. Is it Numrich has a bunch of them, or one of the big importing companies brought in a huge amount of these rifles, which are the destroyer. They're called the destroyer rifles or whatever, but it's 9mm, right?
9mm Largo.
Largo.
9mm Bergman.
Oh,
well, they're in Spain, so it's Largo.
It's 9mm. It's a 9mm bolt action rifle, which you're like, oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. That'd be a perfect like plinking gun or whatever. They lost all the fucking bolts.
Yeah, you can buy the magazines though, but it's the bolts.
They got the rifle, you got the magazine, and you got shit to do with it.
Yeah, I wonder if it'd be worth it for like, I don't know, somebody with a CNC to pump out some bolts or something.
You'd have to find the original documentation. You'd have to find the original blueprints.
I don't know. I don't know anything about machining, but some sort of backwards. Okay, I'll take Jared's word for it.
It would be expensive to backwards engineer it. That we put it that
way. It's not that you'd have one, but yours may work in your gun, but it's all about tolerances, and it's tolerances plus and minus. Yeah. Are you on the plus end or the minus end? And where do you fit? Reading engineering drawings is one of the things I have to do, and it's a pain in the ass.
So then you would have to custom engineer it for somebody's specific rifle, and something like that. That's just not.
Yeah, you'd have $500 in a bolt for a $20 gun.
You might have like an easier time of it because it is 9mm, so it's not necessarily like you're gonna have it super tight on tolerances because you're not gonna have a huge amount of explosive mass behind it. But like
Still gotta work.
You're gonna put a lot of money and effort into something that's not gonna really turn out a return on investment. Because we see that, I see that all the time actually on social media. People ask, why don't they make reproductions of this kind of thing? And I'm just like, there's no market.
Yeah, no market.
Because you want it for $10. That's why. Because it costs $100 to make, and you want to spend $10 on it.
What was the 1998 the 100th anniversary of the Mauser 98s? They made 1,000 or 2,000 or no, they made 18. They made 1,898 of them. Duh. So those were like $2,000, brand new, because they had to re-engineer the whole tooling for it.
Yeah,
it's like, of course they're going to be that expensive.
Yeah.
Can't think of any other countries that would have cheap guns for entry level now. The comments will tell us. They'll be like, "Your guys are retarded. You forgot this."
I mean,
you forgot.
You can still get maybe a Chinese SKS if you're lucky in the 450 range.
Yeah, Chinese SKS is about 450. Yeah.
I was
a little bit more nicer in a sense because it was matching, but I mean, not rough shaped, good shape, decent shape. 450. Yeah.
I was I was trying to keep it mostly pre 1945 because you can get down a slippery slope because there's quite a lot of cheap Cold War.
Makarovs are cool. I love Macs.
Yeah.
Not pre 1945 though, according to Danny.
No, but we're not listening to Danny. It's not his podcast. I don't give a shit. Max.
I almost said Swedes because you could get lucky, but not anymore.
You get lucky on a bunch of
shit.
shit.
Lucky on any of these.
You can get lucky. Sam married you.
Knowledge is power.
It's a good joke.
Under 500.
I appreciate that joke. Are the TT-33s, the M57s? They still
forget it.
The M57s?
Oh, the M57s? Oh, you can get M57s.
Oh, the post-war guys? Yeah.
Yugoslavian.
Yugoslavian.
Yeah, Yugoslavian.
Be careful on those because they did not clean the barrels after they test fired them bitches and they're rusty. Because I got one. It was brand new. And it was rust in the barrel, like red rust. It's like, this is bullshit.
Who'd you get it from?
The internet.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember.
Did they not test it with a new production round or something like that?
No, they used the cheap, shitty shit from the Soviets. Like,
man,
because it fired, bam, bam, yeah, kill fucking commies. Here you go. Like, yeah, no. I was like, there's red fucking rust in my barrel. I had to clean my barrel. It's fine now, but
oh yeah,
M57s. Specifically, forget the TTCs and the TT-33s and like all like the Polish shit. Forget it. But the Yugo stuff, yeah, you can get those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yugo and Chinese you can still get for $350.
Chinese you can find in 9, right?
You could.
I don't know if those are Milsurp. If it's like a Norinco commercial made.
It's a Norinco commercial made. They were made in 9.
Oh, okay. Because Zastava?
That's
Zastava. Yeah, it's Yugo.
But they still make them the M57, but they also make it a version in 9. I think it's the M70. I think it's a smaller version but it's in 9. But they still make those brand new. Like you can buy one brand new.
Interesting.
So, and they're not. I don't think they're that much more expensive than you would expect to pay for like a Russian TT-33, and they're brand spanking new. So I'm like,
like a real Russian TT-33 for like $1,200.
Like what, 7, 8 now?
12.
Oh yeah.
With no safety.
North of 12. I think I paid $1,409, but it was matching 100%.
Fuck? What the fuck?
That's been like that. It's been like that for a while.
What?
Russian shot weight last 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, you want your mind blown? the shitty 1895 Nagant revolvers.
Oh, don't even start me on those.
Yeah.
I had one I
Forget
bought for $99. I'm like one of those old boomers. I bought one from a barrel for $99. I really did. I hated that fucking thing.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it sucks.
Another.
Did you know you could suppress those? Did you know you guys can suppress those revolvers? gas revolver, you can suppress it. Did you guys know that?
Another honorable mention you can do for pistols would be go down the ruby rabbit hole. The Spanish and French accepted rubies. Those are still, even the French accepted ones are still under 500.
Isn't that another one of those 32s?
Yeah,
32.
Yeah. Like all the
I had two, and they shoot great. I mean, they're clunky, they're heavy, but they shoot great for 32. But that's a rabbit hole you can go down and actually like kind of enjoy in a sense because it's not too expensive. So
and a ton of different makers and everything. Yeah. Rubies are its own little
64 makers or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. You could go crazy with those if you wanted to, but it's kind of weird. You'd have to really like French stuff. You'd have to jump on that bandwagon and also be okay with having Spanish quality. So it's one of those weird little.
It's cheap.
It is cheap.
Yeah. Like you could still for the same thing. Like there's still German 32s that you could get. For around ruby pricing, so
like what?
It just kind of depends on what you like sour 1913
routines. Yeah.
Well, I mean you could kind of luck into one like that, but there are some sours that pop up on Gunbroker that just for some reason nobody really looks at them. Like the 1930s, the sour 1930s, the non-officer models nobody really cares about, so those don't get that much money.
Or even the Maus 1914.
I was just about to ask those.
Oh yeah.
That one
or the 1934s. Yeah.
I think I paid just north of 500 for mine, but it was the taxes and the fees that brought it north of 500. And mine was Imperial marked, accepted into the German military. If you don't need that mark, like you can find them less than 500 easily.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the World War I era ones too.
Yeah.
The
little 32s, the officer 32, even though they're not, same thing. If you don't care about the O stamp, you're fine. You got it.
Yeah, like the 1910, the 1914, the 1934 Mausers when you start to get north of 500 because those were a little bit more nicer quality and World War II.
Yeah.
So
what about HSCs?
Those are north of 500 now.
Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah, generally 600 to 700 now for HSCs. They shot up.
I don't know this answer to this because I'm not as big in the pistol market, but like I know there's commercial C96s and commercial Lugers. Are there commercial versions of these 32s we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All
of them cheaper.
Yeah.
Same price.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. Yeah, commercial.
I was wondering if they were the same price typically because I'm wondering if it's the interest isn't there for the military ones, so there really isn't much of a difference.
I think general rule of thumb, you could probably knock $50 to $100 off for a commercial one versus a military accepted one.
That's fair.
Generally across the board, like
with World War I German,
once you get into World War II, then it's just like they were all, if they're made during the war years, then like they were all accepted in a sense if they weren't even marked.
But honestly, anything after 1940 has they're not crown end, they're eagle end, so it's going to have a swastika on it. So, or it's going to have at least the little freedom chicken,
dirty bird.
Yeah, the dirty bird. Yeah, so it's going to look
dirty bird,
not Waffenops. This is different.
There's my dirty bird.
For World War I's generally like they're all civilian for the most part, but they had military contracts. But for a civilian one, you could $50 to $100 you can knock off possibly for just a regular civilian one that was, in all honesty, probably still used and accepted in the military.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Well, that's the thing too, is because there's a lot of these guns that are not military marked that did go to the military, like Long and Hans. The post-war example would be like the CZ-38s. And then there's going to be pre-war purchase guns. And then like, so the commercial guns that aren't, military that were made during the war or whatever, like they didn't go to Hans down at the bakery. Like those probably went to the war too. They just weren't, made. So
yeah, they weren't officially stamped. Like,
yeah,
hey, got it, kind of thing. Like,
right. And that's what I'm saying is like, that's a cheaper entry.
Yeah. Sour 90, a lot of them you will see aren't officially stamped, but they have the civilian proofs, and you can damn well think like most of those got sent off to either private purchase or some contract that was later used versus being marked from the factory. So pressed into service.
Like you got to think about like how many interwar period guns made, or just like pistols made right before World War II or right before World War One, that just like they didn't just stick around in Germany. It's like, no, they're going to go, like, we're going to issue these, we're going to give them to somebody, or you're going to mail them to your friend or to your son or whatever,
oh yeah,
just weren't marked. Like the Germans weren't as crazy about marking everything as I think people think.
We're also used to in America where you could still go to the store and buy a shotgun in 1943. You really couldn't do that anywhere else because they was using them to shoot at people. They were making shotguns, but like it's like, why do you have all these 32s? We could use these 32s. They're mine now.
Yeah. Wouldn't that thing,
like in the U.S., like that still happened too, where families went and bought pistols or had pistols that were passed down, and they sent them to their son or whatever. Like Eugene Sledge over in the Pacific was a huge example where his family sent him his 1911 that he used on Peleliu going forward. Like that was an actual.
Well, you weren't issued a handgun, right? So like you could still bring your own handgun, though, right?
Yeah, well, sort of.
But if someone shipped one out to you and they didn't check the box, I mean, no one's gonna know.
There was a video of I think it was a Colt Commando in Tarawa or Saipan, and again the comments are going to tell me I was wrong, but there was a video of the guy like using a 38 Colt, and they're like, this Colt went through 8 hands. Like the dude who had it died, and he gave it to his buddy, and it went through 8 hands.
Oh yeah, it's not as prevalent obviously in America because we had the obvious, you could buy your own stuff during the war and you can keep it in the States. You didn't need to send it overseas, where as in Germany, whatever it may be, they needed to do that because that's how they armed their officer or else their family members.
Yeah, you mentioning earlier, Jared, about the shotgun, buying a shotgun during the war, and that reminded me of the German Jaeger pistol, where I think that was like a shotgun manufacturer.
Oh yeah,
they were like, no, you're not using up any resources anymore for shotguns during the war. And they were like, oh crap, well what can we make? All right, we'll make you a pistol that we just threw together. Yeah,
it's May. It looks like a little doggy. I'm like, fuck, it looks like a dog. Like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
What is this he's talking about?
I know exactly what he's talking.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one, but
May talks about it. It's like, looks like a little dog, like a little dash hound. I'm like, I can't unsee it now. Like, and it's dye. It's like dye made, so it's like 2 pieces that are sandwiched together, and they have all the shit in the middle. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Those are cool.
It's pretty weird. Yes. They go for a lot of money. This isn't like a entry level pistol, but I'd love to get one if I ever saw one that wasn't like a extraordinary amount of money.
It's World War I, right?
Yeah,
you don't see often.
Yeah.
Oh dang! Yeah, these do look like a Datsun.
See, she was right, man. She said it. I'm like,
it's got the weird,
like that's face on near the snout. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking.
That's her. I'm crediting her. Like, but damn, I can't unsee it.
I like the shape of it though. Like you can see it's all stamped out, but like it's got good curves and good lines to it.
Yeah.
What kind of action is this?
32, so it's probably blowback.
Yeah, probably just direct blowback.
Yeah, would probably be the easiest, right?
Yeah. Which is like hilarious that there's There's a lot of direct blowback 32s, but then every now and then when you run across one that's like not direct blowback, it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like Frommer, stop, bruh.
R30 or is it R31s or R51s? The barrel rotates the opposite way, so when the bullet goes out, the barrel's held in place and then it rotates.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Blow forwards like the Schwarzlosa. The barrel goes forward. Like,
trying to think, VZ24s versus VZ27s are interesting because it's a locked breach on the 24, but it's blowback on the 27.
yeah, I need VZ24.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I have 27.
Yeah, 27s are more money typically to go for because a lot of them are German. I guess all of them are German. It's a German thing. But yeah, the 24s, I think not a lot of people appreciate or collect Czech stuff. So, hey, that's one maybe. VZ24 Mausers. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Both of mine, I had the 24 and the 27, and I like the 24 more than the 27 when shooting. So it just felt more comfortable, and the snap from shooting was a lot more comfortable in the hand.
Okay. Yeah, I've been
and continue.
I've been pretty curious about that, like how the recoil compares, because it's more recoil because it's it's 380 versus 32 with the 27. So you would just think more more bullet, more recoil, but
yeah, I just vividly remembering shooting my 27, and I was just like, wow, this isn't enjoyable. Like the webbing of your hand, just like it hurt after shooting it. But when I shot the 24 later, a couple weeks later, I was like, wow, I can actually shoot more than a few mags through this and still enjoy it versus the 27. I put 2 mags through it, and I was like, not putting this down. So,
dang, I was going to shoot my VZ24 and do some slow motion with it, or 27, but I never got around to it. It was like next up. My wife got tired of doing all the slow motion recording. So
I just thought of something. What about Star pistols?
I lumped that together with the Spanish stuff.
yeah,
But it depends. Some of those are real funky and weird and expensive. But then you can get some that are cheap. But there's
Same with the Astras.
but ton of them are just commercial, never used by the military guns. Some are just copies of the military guns. Like they just kind of kept making them for the commercial market. So like it's
police, heavy use in the police.
Yeah, but then you'll get like this is the German contract Star. It's like these are $3,000.
Yeah, just like
a lot of those are faked though.
Yeah. Yo, it's the same.
So the Waffenamp, you could tell this by the Star Waffenamp. So the fake Waffenamp, the second A, so it'll say WAA. The second A will be directly in the middle of the fake, but it's not directly in the middle. It's slightly off centered on the real ones, and that's how you tell. Yeah. So
good.
That's how you know. I did some research before buying a fake one, like some last second research, and that's how I learned it. And from almost getting burned, I did that. I almost bought a fake Waffenamp 1935A at a gun show, and it was pretty cheap. It was like $1,700 or something like that. I was like, oh dang, okay, kind of want another one. And I showed a friend of mine, and he looked at it, and he was like, he ran his finger across the Waffenamp, and he's like, dude, this doesn't feel like anything. It's not in there. It looked like it was like just surface level, like laser etched or something. Like it wasn't actually like stamped or punched. I was like, oh shit.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't trust it.
Yep. Yeah.
Then you have to get into like the serial numbers and figure out if it's in the correct range that it was possible and whatever. And it's like, I'm not going to do that for
gotta buy a book.
Yeah, buy a book, man. Buy a book.
Horse shit.
Have the book on handy, like at the show.
Yeah, didn't you just bring your library with you?
You'll reference the trailer.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of the Stars because I know a lot of those are coming in from like Africa or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen a few coming in, but I don't know where they're coming from. But they're not. They might not be military. They might be police. And then if you collect police stuff or whatever, like I guess so. But yeah, no, pre 45 and whatever, it's going to be tricky. But yeah.
I do know a fact about the Star Model B. Do you know the fact, Danny?
Oh yeah, I do.
What is it, Danny?
It's that in movies, because of 9mm being more reliable and everything, they wanted to use 9mm blanks in the movies. So instead of using a real 1911, even if the character carried a real 1911, they would shoot a star at 9mm because it's more reliable to shoot. Because
yeah.
Because I learned that's like the most important part. Because if you have a whole scene, because it's got to be the right time of day and all that kind of stuff. So it's super important that because blank firing guns, Jared, blank firing guns are finicky, especially automatics. Yeah. So like, it's got to be perfect. And so, for the shot and everything. Because imagine if a blank firing gun jammed, and that happens. You can watch in movies. Like the extras or whatever in the background, their blank guns will jam. Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, they'll stovepipe or whatever because they're finicky. But they're more reliable, and so they use the stars as stand-ins for 1911s in movies.
Most famously, what people always forget or don't realize is that it's Pulp Fiction. In Pulp Fiction, their handguns are stars.
Really?
Yeah. You always assume it's a 1911 because you don't really see it up close a whole lot, but it's a Star Model B. So that's the only like trivia I know about the stars.
That's a bitch.
That was a good one.
Yeah, blank firing guns, man. They're pretty neat. I like those movie guns and stuff. TFB TV did a few videos on like the Hollywood guns from those big gun guys.
You actually talked about it in the
current. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You were actually talking about in the chat earlier about like what propane or whatever it is, like
that's the gas-powered Death Stars. Yeah.
Yeah, gas versus the BFONGs or the BFONGs, as reenactors call them. Yeah, because I've said it on the podcast before, but I would prefer a BFONG, a blank firing only non-gun that was like full auto because it could shoot blanks full auto. To a semi-auto only belt fed. So like if I was going to have, magic wand, you can have a MG34, but it's either full auto BFONG or semi-auto only. It's like, I'm going to do the BFONG.
Yep.
And I know it's like, it's a toy or whatever at that point, but like at least you get the full auto feel and I could take it to reenactments.
It's funny when you get on the field too, because they're like, yo, you got a 34? Yeah. Is it semi or full? Semi.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of sad. Like, man.
Yeah, I know. Like, that happens quite a bit at reenactments. Dudes bring, like, I remember one guy brought one of those 16-inch barreled commercial semi-auto Thompsons to an event.
Yeah.
And he's like a GI and he's got this long-ass barreled Thompson. He's like, do. And it's like, okay, I'm sure you feel silly with your, or at least you should. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend growing up, and his dad did reenacting, and he had a BAR, a Thompson, a grease gun, all that stuff, and BFONGs and all that stuff. So cool. That was when I was very young, so I got to play with those when I was super young. Had no idea at that point. I was like 8 or 9 years old, probably. So
yeah, they're pretty cool. They actually now there's a company that makes MP40s. They make them from airsoft guns.
Huh.
They shoot blanks. Like full on regular mags, but it's an airsoft gun. So it'll never be like an MP40. It can't hold the pressure, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah. The way they get around the ATF regulations for the BFONG MP40s is really weird. I don't know if you know this, Jared, but so instead of like the blank going in where like the primer's in the back and the gas goes out like the front, they can't because that is too easily, according to ATF, too easily convertible to live ammo. So they had to engineer it where it's backwards.
Yeah, those are SS rooms.
Yeah, so they're like so the blanks, so the magazine goes in backwards.
Yeah.
And so the bolt like closes like backwards instead of closing like forward to chamber. It closes all like backwards.
A couple of our guys one of our guys has one of them, and his is finicky. And then he traded it to another guy in the unit, and he got one of the airsoft guns. That's why the airsoft guns are cool, because they chamber forward, but it's a pot metal airsoft gun. You can't tell looking at it. Like, it looks normal, but it's not. It's just a toy. But yeah, the early SS rooms, which were made off of like original parts, those are backwards.
Yeah, they gotta be.
If you look at the chamber, like the tube area and all that, there's an extra space where the bolt travels, coming back towards you. Pretty
recoil though.
Have you ever honestly? Have you ever shot a real MP40?
No,
I have. It don't. It's kind of a letdown because you're expecting like this awesome, like, yeah, you can write your name with it, no problem. Just like it is nuts. So how do they recoil? The same as a real one. They don't.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I'm just looking on Simpson here, guys. There are so many K11s, 1896s, 9611, whatever they are.
Yeah.
So many under 400.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They got like at least 50.
Yeah. Edelweiss right now. Like, it's been that way for the past like year or two, where they're just hovering right around the 450 mark, give or take.
No, these are 375 or under is what I'm seeing right now.
The only ones I saw that were higher were matching bayonet.
Oh yeah,
matching bayonet ones were like an extra $500.
There's a K11 here that it has some finish issues with the metal. So it said they're saying it's only 40%, but it's matching and 375.
Yep.
I'm just like, what?
It's a decent starter. I mean, that's a good one under 4 for the quality and everything.
The nose cap on it.
Where was the?
You see the?
Where was, like you said, there was finish problems, like 40%.
They're Swiss, not Finnish.
Badumts.
But where was the problem? Was it like the nag or the receiver?
It looks like it's on the top of the receiver.
That may do it then, right there.
But these are 375. But if you go up $20, it goes into like 87% blue, 395 for 87% blue.
Those must be the Swiss Mausers you're talking about, then.
Yes.
Hey, did you see on the front?
I also love the specificness of 87%. Not 40, not 50, 87 exactly. We did.
I love
the
yeah. When you talk about the finish,
it's like a 13% chance of rain. Kiss my ass.
Did you see halfway down the page, their what's new page? There's that quote unquote Russian M48A. It's sold for $750.
What? Wait, that was on Simpson?
Yep. It's on the front page. Yep.
Oh dang, man! They got an actual C96 carbine.
Oh yeah.
Those are expensive.
It's restored though.
I wonder who made the description on that Russian M48A though. I'm just picturing him in my head right now.
You know,
a new guy.
It says Russian in the first thing, but if you look in the description, it does say Yugoslavian.
Yugoslavian/Serbian M48A.
So
yeah.
Somebody just messed up on the title.
Yeah, they do that.
Really got it.
So they post guns every now and then for free. I've noticed. One time they did it, and I called them, and I said, "Hey, I will take this gun at the advertised price." And he goes, "Oh, I see. So so and so messed up. All right, yeah, we'll fix that."
That happened with me with Edelweiss a few years ago. They had GP11, like boxes of 60 and 10 rounds for GP11, and they were doing a thing to where like you buy one box and the next box was a little bit discounted and the next box after that was a little bit more discounted. And I found out that if you add 10 boxes to the cart, your order was free.
Somebody did some math wrong somewhere. Oh boy, Did you buy any?
So I ordered 10 boxes and they approved the order. And then probably 30 minutes later, they canceled the order. I called them saying, "Why'd you cancel the order?" And they're like, "Oh, we messed up." I was like, "Well, you got to give me something." So they gave me a free 60 round box.
Oh, well, that's cool. At least, yeah. I didn't really expect a free gun, so I didn't really press Simpson on that one. But yeah,
should have.
Yeah,
they would have said fuck off. they wouldn't have done anything like that.
You know,
having spoken to them directly, they would not give him.
Yeah, no. I met Mr. Simpson himself, and I met I saw his huge wad of cash, which was like impressive. This little like safe thing that they bring with them. They drop mad money on guns.
Like Tulsa and all that? Or?
Yeah, Tulsa. I saw him here. He was in Kansas City at the last big collector's show here, which was pretty cool. I think that one was...
I need to make it out there.
It's really good. I'm really surprised. I'm like, geez, this is my hometown. We got a big old show like this. That's kind of nice. It brought a lot of the big people, some auctions and stuff. But yeah,
one in Tulsa.
Yeah, I'll be at Tulsa next month. It's coming up pretty soon. Like I said, I say this like every time, but I think that's going to be my last one for a while. So
why is that?
Kiddo number 2 coming in February. So yeah, I'm going to be on the. We don't know what 2-kid life is going to be like. So
couldn't help you there.
Yeah, Aaron.
What?
Apparently, what you're going to lose first is your attention span.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh man! So I was gonna go and read some comments, but Jared, I think you wanted to do a shout out.
Yeah, one of the guys that I know is a fan of the podcast, and I just wanted to say hello to him because it's nice. Hi, Bachman. I remembered. That's all.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell him.
It's always nice to meet a fan.
Send him a timestamp of this.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Only watched one part.
1 hour 45 minutes.
Yeah, 1 hour 45 minutes. I remember that. No, he left a comment, and I met him at one of our events. I'm like, "Hey, do you watch the podcast?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You left a comment." He's like, "Yeah." That's awesome.
Was he one of the ones that corrected you with the Swiss thing?
No, he liked the fact that I compared that 30 Remington, whatever cartridge it is, to 30 Luger. So.
Oh, yeah. Because Ian's going pretty heavily saying that the 30 Super Carry it's really 32 French long.
Yeah, it's 30 Luger.
No, it's 32 French long.
Yeah, well, I did the math.
I was gonna read some of those comments that you got about the last video. This will be the corrections.
I'm not
part of this one.
I gotta remember this.
We got. Yeah, I know. People don't know that you're fucking hammering beers. So you're like on your 7th or 8th one, and you're saying some fact.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. The last one when you mentioned like each canteen holds how many beers or mess kits?
Mess kit holds 4 beers. Whew. That one I know for a fact.
Yeah. And he had to refill it. He had to refill his mess kit.
Yeah.
So.
And then people get into the comments and they're like, "Why didn't you know the specific?"
Actually, GP90 was never semi-smokeless.
Actually, dude, I shouldn't be driving a vehicle right now. Like, I should not be operating heavy machinery. I mean, I'm gonna
know. I don't even know what year it is.
These are the fallen guys from when I got home. Like,
Yeah.
That's one mess kit work.
Yep. So correction. Everybody wanted you to know that it's not semi-smokeless, and I think you learned your lesson after like the 20th comment. Maybe you learned your lesson. I don't know.
I did, but it is a lower pressure.
So GP90 is not semi-smokeless, and I hope we can beg for everybody's forgiveness.
It's not semi-smoke. Just so you know.
It's not. But if you want to know how to reload it and shoot it safely, I am your guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you use a mixture of black powder and smokeless powder?
No, that would make it partially smokeless.
Oh.
What is semi then?
It's
ratio.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's YouTube friendly.
See me on my OnlyFans to find out.
Yeah, Milsurp World's OnlyFans.
Yep.
ASMR.
It's just Danny racking them.
Oh yeah.
I was cleaning it and it went off. Like,
There's actually tons of those ASMR. Yeah, Aaron's laughing at that one. That was good.
No, I'm just imagining Danny like with like mood lighting and like sexy porno music. And
These lights turn red.
And he's got like the lube, and he's just lubing up a gun, and he's just like, yeah.
Rack.
That's not far off from what I thought about doing, because Utreon. So YouTube live streams you can't touch guns, but Utreon live streams you can touch guns. So I could do like some sort of live stream where I reload for like 3 people that would watch it or whatever. But,
yeah, the 3 people on Utreon.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah, so probably OnlyFans.
We always did say it would be a funny April Fool's joke for us to make a Pornhub or a
OnlyFans
account.
Yeah, videos titled like Danny strips Mauser K98K naked or something.
And it's just a disassembly.
Yeah,
with
I'm just disassembling. Yeah.
You guys can't see, it's under the table.
Lubes up his rifles.
Not wearing pants.
Help me, yeah.
Oh, you know what you need to do? You need to have 2 Boss 36s and stick them together.
Oh yeah, with porno music playing. Yeah. Oh boy.
So what happens after 11?
Help me, Step Sergeant. My bayonets are stuck together.
Yeah.
That would be great though. You have like there'd be a whole series of you just
doing dumb shit.
You just parroting like all these tropes, but it's just like you and a rifle. Like the rifle is stuck in the washing machine, and it's just sticking out, and you're like, "What are you doing?"
Oh man, I feel like if I was artsy and creative enough, I could make that happen. But somebody more talented than me needs to do that. We need to
just hold on. You've got the rifle on like an outdoor like lounge chair, and then it cuts like to a shot of the rifle, and then in the background you're mowing the yard.
The pool boy.
But yeah, like that.
I need that.
Oils DLP.
And then you're like, "Oh, you dirty bird."
Let's see. What's more of these? Let's see. I'm delivering a pizza, and the Mauser opens the door, and is like, "How could I pay for this?"
Hold on. What it needs to be, you need to have one of them with a woman, and then you have your the Roth Steyr, and it ejects all the ammo, and it'd be like, "I'm sorry, this never happens. This never happens."
Oh, that's good. I got one. I need to have a couch, and then I need to have a rifle with a nice like blonde stock, and then a bunch of darker stock colored rifles.
Yeah, the meme
behind it.
Yeah.
It's like sitting around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got any more of these, Aaron? Do we hit on all this? Oh man.
We've hit a lot of the major points. I do think the two Moss 36s stuck together. It's great. I don't know why, but I found that one really funny.
Yeah.
Or the Mauser stuck in the washing machine. The butt of a rifle sticking out of a washing machine is funny to me.
You know, for a second when I had two Moss 36s, I thought about sticking them together like that and like taking a picture and like posting it on Valentine's Day or something with like a heart around it or something. I don't know. Just like somebody's got to do that now.
Some Mac pistols are made right here.
Anyway.
Oh, read some comments. I can enjoy this.
I don't know anymore. I'll think about it.
Tell me all the ways that I'm wrong.
So, looking through some of these comments, one that's like super long. The guy was telling me on my, it was a comment on one of my never shot a Milsurp before video series, and he thinks I shouldn't tell them the nationality before they shoot the rifles, like the gun's name or nationalities. And he said that there's some sort of study that and they had like a control, but they showed pictures of castles to people and said these are German and these are French. Which one is prettier? And they swapped it, for another group, and people just picked the French castles that they thought were French over the German castles, even though they were like the same exact things. So he doesn't think that I should say anything say the nationality, which I think in that. Okay, go ahead.
Here's my thought on that. If you don't have them show you on a map where the fuck that country is first, because most people don't even know. Yeah,
that's true.
Like, oh yeah, that's a British gun. Okay, show me where Britain is.
I think most Gen Z doesn't even know how many states are in the United States.
That's what I'm getting at. So like, perception is kind of weird.
But I would argue that the average person still has a bias against Chinese-made items.
Yeah.
If you were to say this Type 53 is Chinese, and here's an M44 that's Russian, I think you're going to have a bias, even if one is in better condition than the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even if not quality-wise, you got pre and post-war, and then you have, in a lot of minds, a major combatant of World War II, and then just like, China was technically in the war. Because I don't think Americans fully appreciate like how hard China, how much dying happened over there and how hard the Chinese fought. So that's a thing too. But so it's hard to sort of isolate that, I think. But yeah,
it's an interesting point though. It actually is. He's playing the mental game.
Yeah, I don't know. That might have been on the video that had I had the doctor shoot, and he said in the video he said something about like he liked the German one and he felt a little guiltier. He said something about feeling guilty about the German one, and so
that was the guy that was English, right?
No, this is the American doctor. No, the British guy I don't think said anything like that. But yeah, I need to do another one of those.
I could definitely see how that could skew the thought process, though, when shooting. So, yeah.
Yeah, it still doesn't top the very first one of the whole series. When the guy
Where the guy loaded it.
Yeah, he loaded that K98K like an M1. He just pushed the whole clip and everything into it, and the clip got stuck. Y'all remember that? Yeah.
I felt bad.
And you had to pause the video and you're like, I've never seen this before.
Yeah, I had to fix it off camera, but yeah, I was like, I didn't even know it was possible. I just thought like it just wouldn't go down, but he must have really just. He just like fucking yeah.
You give her all away, buddy. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah, he just went full send. Yeah.
All right, Danny, next comment. Go. Let's keep it moving. Let's go.
All right. He commented, so I did a couple shorts. I was hoping it'd get a little bit more traction than it did, but it was Walther PP versus Sauer 38H. Mm-hmm. And I did 2 shorts. And this Australian guy commented, as an Australian with limited access to historic pistols, I'm struggling to understand the advantages of DASA pistols like these, even with the fancy cocking / decocking levers, etc. You could kind of unpack that one for a bit too. The M1911A1 was SA only, but my understanding was routinely carried cocked and locked, so it could be brought into action as quickly as these German DASA pistols. So he's just kind of sounds like single action versus the DASA. Mm-hmm. Was the 1911A1 safe to carry cocked and locked? And if so, was there any real significant advantage with these SADA pistols over the older SA-only designs? Although very clever mechanically, it seems to me the real operational advantages of these German pistols is very marginal. Is that a fair assessment? Guy's name is Oh Lordy.
Oh Lordy. Cocked and locked is safe.
I think it comes down to comfortability and making the action from cocked and locked to the safe. I think that's where the advantages come from when like disassembling or just downgrading the pistol, the ammo, going from ready to go versus not ready to go, which happens a lot. I think it just gives more comfortability. Yes, it's an extra step, but it gives more comfortability to know for sure that it's in that position. I think maybe more positive, I guess.
To me, this is a doctrinal question.
Yeah, it made me wonder, what was the American doctrine during World War II? Was it to carry, cocked and locked? Was that it? Or did they do condition 3 carry like the French? And I believe they I don't know. Like, what did the holster? Like, I know the holsters for the night. I have one. I should try that. I know the holsters. I don't know if there's room, like with the flap going over it, that you could leave the hammer back, and and reholster it. So is that even a thing, or do old period holsters, if they all were carried with hammer back, did they all have a little like crease in the leather from when the hammer pushed into it?
And on the doctrine, the pistol that he has on my screen, which is right here, is a Viz 35. They omitted the safety. They kept the decocker.
Fair, yeah.
This is a doctrinal question.
May have been, they adopted it. They Manual of Arms said this is what we're going to have, and they just kept it for the simplicity of the Manual of Arms.
Yeah, and the Viz 35s is single only. So this is a doctrinal question. It seems like a mechanical question, but in reality, this is a who taught you?
Yeah. I would bet the Polish with that decocker only single action, they did something like the French with theirs.
I actually, mine is that way.
It comes down to the talking point of the modern M4, M16. It's all Manual of Arms. Like having a charging handle on the top is very weird compared to on the sides of other countries' rifles, but it just comes down to Manual of Arms. So,
and it's not the same because I'm not a combatant, but having carried a Viz, I carried it round in, use the decocker, bam, and then if I needed it, you just pull the hammer back when you pull the pistol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, thinking about it, concealed carry wise, I guess like a modern thing. Would you rather carry double action, single action, or cocked and locked? You could also boil the question down to that, and that's a lot of personal preference.
That's personal.
Yeah,
that's personal.
Both are pretty dated now. But yeah, well, It's kind of interesting, right? Because everything switched back to Striker, but Striker is kind of like the oldest, you know?
Yeah, 1900s.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like the 1900s and 1910s and stuff like that. And then it seems like in the 20s or 30s, maybe like hammers kind of like showed up, and then double action showed up. Like hammers kind of became more popular. Because I know like there's more force with a hammer fired pistol. There's more force hitting the firing pin, so I guess it's more of a guaranteed shot than with a striker fired pistol. So
I would say, to answer his question though, that is a doctrinal question, and you're looking at it with a modern lens, where in reality it's a doctrinal thing.
Yeah, so it seems to me that
each country did its own thing.
Operational advantages of these German pistols was very marginal. So DA, yeah, over it. I guess it depends the way it's carried. Yeah, it depends on the doctrine. But even not the case, even if both doctrines were carry with the round in the chamber, it comes down to personal preference.
Yeah,
and it's easier just for a country just to pick one and train every guys to do exactly that. Then,
yeah, that's what I mean by doctrine.
You wouldn't, you wouldn't do like have both in a perfect world, in a country. But
I would DASA, because if you're down to a handgun, shit's getting real.
Yeah, I stopped carrying DASA specifically because I don't like the long. I don't like the DA first trigger pull, so I went away from that.
Most DASA guns are external hammer, so you can just cock them. So that's why.
If you have the time to do that, and I know it's it's like a training thing and whatever, but I would just prefer the trigger to be exactly the same every time. So yeah.
Oh, no.
I agree.
Glad.
What the hell are you doing, Aaron?
I don't know anything about friggin' pistols.
Okay.
I can't comment on this. Half the shit you were talking about, I didn't even know we were talking about. How many pistols do I own, Danny?
0.
That's correct.
There's like 3 in this room. Well, this room.
Oh yeah. Did you see that meme of a guy in a doctor's office, and the doctor asks him, "Do you have any guns at home?" And the guy goes, "I have a gun in this room." I actually got asked that. I got asked that with my son at the doctor's office. Yeah.
I got asked, "Do you feel safe at home?"
Oh, that's a real thing. Yeah.
My wife asked the nurse at the pediatrician because they said, "Are there any drugs in the home?" And just immediately she said, "Does meth count?" Just like that, just questioning but serious, like, "Does meth count?"
Oh God!
And the lady just went, "We're kidding. She's kidding."
That's good. Yeah.
It's a good response.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. This is on my K98K Mauser Evolution through World War II video. I found a German Mauser for sale, period. It has some kind of flip-up style rear sights, and it's a super short rifle, period. I'm thinking of getting it, period. He said it's 7mm, period.
Well, thank you for commenting, sir.
This is why I don't. Yeah.
And just make sure you like and subscribe.
This is why when Danny's like, "Yo, did you see the comments?"
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Here you go, Aaron. Somebody commented on the Lee Navy versus U.S. Krag video. If you consider the Lee is the only straight pull due to its non-rotating bolt head, The Mannlicher 1886 and 88/90, 90, etc. All would be true straight pulls as well.
Yes, because they are they don't have a rotating bolt at all. They're a wedge locking. Well, yeah, the 8890s are wedge locking still. Yeah, the M90s are rotating bolts.
Interesting. Huh. The true straight pull.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider a Lee Navy a straight pull though either.
Doesn't it kick up?
It's a camming action.
It's a camming action. It's a straight pull camming action.
Yeah.
It's a separate category. It's like so here's
it's a niche.
Here's straight pull, and then here's like this little branch down here, and that's where it is.
Yeah. It like hooks under and then back.
Yeah.
So
it's very different. Danny and Mike have both fondled them.
I'm legally drunk. It's fine.
It's very weird action. Actually.
It is. It is.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Plus, Danny was so confused. I remember him being freaked out by the
floating extractor.
No, I think it locked up or something. Like the action locks. Was that it?
The action locks, and it has a bolt release.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Why the fuck does it have a bolt release?"
I was like,
you press it.
How else are you gonna release the bolt? A bolt release.
yeah, you would just pull the fucking thing back. You make a button for it.
Ahead of its time.
Yeah. Here's a slightly pro-American sort of spin on this comment. It's very, very difficult to buy in France. Commented on my French Moss 4956 video. Because there's certain guns that like you are really hard to get anywhere else in the world. French guns are one of those things where we kind of have a lot in the United States. They don't have a lot in France and a lot of other places. So it's kind of lucky. Like Japanese rifles, I saw a German collector post his Type 38 that he bought recently. And he was super happy to have it because Arisakas are very uncommon in Europe. Because like, why the fuck would they go there unless a collector imported it over there like 50 years after the war or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
Russia.
We stole them all.
Russia. No, Russia.
Steal them. They rightfully are.
Russia had the Type 38s.
Yeah, in World War One. Yeah.
But we stole them all.
No, I bet most of those were used up in the Civil War, if I had to bet.
Yeah, probably.
If I had to bet money on that. But Russia had a lot of Type 38s, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I thought I heard there's some conflict in Russia where like the #1 rifle was like an Arisaka or something. I might be misremembering that. Don't quote me.
I know that the second most common round in Imperial Russia for World War I is the 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
So like it saw a lot of use. So like that's why it surprises me like that they would be harder to find, the Type 38s at least. But then again, I was thinking they probably just burned the fuck out of those. They just used that all up.
I like the oversimplification of history, where the Japs are like, we really don't like this gun anymore. Russia? Like...
Hey, here's an interesting thing about the Japanese like stereotype or whatever. Everybody thinks Japanese World War II, fight to the death, all that kind of stuff, right? Never surrender. They surrendered before the home island got invaded. The Germans don't have that same reputation. They got wiped out, invaded, taken over, like all completely. Like didn't invade till they had like hardly any of like actual Germany and German control. Just kind of interesting. I thought about that the other day. A guy commented, named Paul, commented on the French Moss 4956 video as well. I thought this was pretty good. The French copy nobody, and nobody copies the French.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wrong.
Well, you go tell Paul that.
Swiss P210s.
Yes.
The best pistol
however,
ever. Best pistol ever.
Yeah.
Swiss P210.
You know the guy who invented the gun that the P210 is based on?
I don't.
Is something Peter with 2 T's, probably like Peter or whatever, and he's Swiss. He's French Swiss.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I don't know. That's the only thing I thought of was like.
So a Swiss guy invented the 1935A, which the P210. Yep.
Yeah.
Just to bring it back.
Huh. Yeah.
And everyone will tell me that I'm wrong, and I will tell them to send Bush lights to my house.
Bush.
I get a lot of comments. So my fake Colt 1911 copy video gets some pretty funny comments. That's just a good video to go to and just read the comments. But somebody commented, I married a Filipina gal, and then period, and her uncle ... and subsequently the cousins made. I was like, okay, I'm glad he put a period right there. And subsequently, the cousins made these puppies. I visited the factory a few times. The most rudimentary equipment you can imagine. I will not go into details there, but I would not fire one of these things with a full load without safety glasses and at least half a bottle of gin in me. I am a SIG guy.
Thanks.
I get quite a few comments of people being like, "Oh yeah, they make those in like my town or my old town or whatever in the Philippines," which is kind of interesting because it's kind of like it reminds me of a Philippine Khyber Pass sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Which was a pretty well done copy for being like handmade and everything. It's a pretty well done.
Funny because the Rock Islands are Filipino and they're actually pretty good pistols.
Oh yeah, the new Rock Islands.
Yeah, that's my first handgun I ever bought. It shoots great.
Yeah, that tells.
Yeah, it shoots great. It was like $400. Like, I carried it, cocked and locked for a while. Any more, Danny?
I read the main ones. Now I'm just kind of skimming to see if anyone's pop out at me. Oh, here we go. This is on my. This is another one of those videos that kind of gets the comments. How I picked the best bolt action. That ticks people off. The people that are emotionally attached to a certain design, and they think I'm crazy for having objective standards.
Like Leon.
Yes. Ugh, I want rounds on target quickly. Get back to me after 30 years of competitive shooting. BTW, a straight pull is not a turn bolt action.
I agree. I agree.
So I'm gonna have to get into competitive shooting, and then
for 30 years,
and then hopefully this guy is still alive in 30 years, and then I'll reply to this comment.
Every time he's like, "Did you read the comments?" Nope.
Yeah, I'd say one of my favorite places to read comments on Firearms YouTube has got to be Firearms United. Their shorts. Danny knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Especially the ones where he's like budget alternatives.
And everyone's like, "Her dude, that ain't cheap. That's a Scar or whatever. That ain't cheap. That ain't budget." My favorite ones are the people that are always saying that he's using airsoft. That's pretty funny.
No, I need to watch his videos. I haven't seen any of them recently, so
yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's probably most of the good like recent. Those are like comments I got in the last like week or so. So yeah, pretty fun times. There's certain videos I like to just like watch the comments on because I know I upset some people.
You can only fit 8 in the magazine, Danny. 8 goes in the magazine.
Yeah, that's a good one. I hear gun people all the time kind of saying incorrect stuff like that. It's like, okay. Fun fact, the inventor of the AK-47 admired John Garand and used some of his ideas. They commented on that tips and tricks, the M1 tips and tricks video.
Actually, you reminded me. Somebody had asked a question about the SKS versus the AK. So I went and looked up like some of the stuff from the time period, and like what's his name? The guy who what's his full name? The AK guy.
Mikhail Kalashnikov?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of speculation that he just like ripped off people's designs.
Oh yeah.
And like none of this was actually his actual idea. Or maybe he did like small improvements, kind of like Edison, where like he did improvements to shit, but it really wasn't his real idea to begin with. Yeah. And I'm like, what?
Shut up, Carl. No one fucking talks to you. No one's remember Carl.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I'm going, I don't know specifics. I don't know any details like that. I just was looking into it because I was like, well, why did they pick the SKS? And they picked the SKS because it fulfilled their requirements in 45 or 46 when they were trialing it. And then, but Kalashnikov submitted a design to that trial and it failed. It didn't pass. So he resubmitted a design for the next trial, and that's what eventually became the AK-47. But I was like, I never understood why the SKS was just so quickly dropped from Russia's like main battle rifle. Like they just really just went, bam, done, no, fuck it. And I was like, oh, they were looking... In World War II terms, they wanted a SVT, but smaller and in a more powerful round. And so they got one, which is the SKS. But then they're like, oh, wait, shit, there's actually a new design that's actually better. So in the rare instance of foresight, they were like, oh, shit, let's drop this thing we just tooled up and do something else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Because I'm like, that doesn't happen. You go back and we've talked about all this stuff, about all these different countries and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It never fucking happens. You spend the money and the time to tool up one of these guns. It does not matter if the new gun is better. It has to be like leaps and bounds better.
Well, yeah, it's commie, so the money and the time don't matter because they're, made up.
But to me, that would, to me though, that idea that you would invested into it already, that it really had to be proven to be like just exponentially better to the point where they were like, well, we can't deny this.
Full data,
man. So I know what you mean though, Aaron. Yeah.
I didn't realize that. So it's the AK-47. Do you know when they started production?
49.
I was gonna say 49.
It took them a couple of years to tool up.
49.
Yeah, so it took them a couple of years to tool up. So this whole time they're building SKSs, and they're rearming stuff with SKSs, and then they're tooling up for the AK, and then after the AK has become adopted, they're starting to they're still producing SKSs, because you see SKSs into the 50s with Russian marking.
Because they had trouble with the early AKs.
Yeah, they redesigned the AKs because I think the submission was a milled receiver, and they wanted it to be stamped because it was going to be cheaper and easier to mass produce.
Yes, that is correct. The first stampings were not as good.
Yeah, the first AK-47, like the AK-47 is stamped. And then they went to the, I guess the Type 2s or whatever, which was milled and everything. And yeah.
And the AKMs are
back to stamping. It was stamped, milled, stamped.
Yeah, the first ones they tried stamping, and it didn't work. They went to a milled gun, which is the AK-47, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The AKMs are stamp guns.
Right, okay.
German stamping technology.
I don't know all the... I did not realize the minutia of the difference of AKs. Like,
it's like everything, man. Yeah.
I'm just like, whoa, there's like 50 different variations here. So like, all right. I got, in my head, I know an AK-47. I know the AK-74. I kind of know what the AKM, the one that has the folding stock, the paratrooper stock or whatever.
To you.
Shut up. The dong. I know the dong meme.
Those are Russian. Or those are Hungarian?
Romanian, I think, right?
Romanian, yeah.
Yeah, the dong.
Very
I know that. Wasser. I don't
those
know what
Romanians.
That means. I don't know what that means, but I know that's something to do with those. I was just really surprised,
guys.
Given how much we talk about.
He's trying, okay.
I know.
Given how much we talk about money being a factor and time and effort and what is that, the sunk cost fallacy?
Oh yeah, sunk cost fallacy. Yeah.
You put too much effort into it. Given how much we've talked about that, we talked about it last time. We had a whole conversation, Danny and I did off of the podcast about I was like, the existence of the P-13 proves that the British had given up on the SMLE, and the only reason the SMLE didn't just disappear is because they ran out of time and money, and by the time the World War I ended, they didn't have.
Oh.
Oh man.
Freeze frame.
Screenshot it.
Oh boy. Oh, that's.
He was on a roll too. Like,
he really was. Oh
just
man.
hammered it.
But anyway. So we've talked about all that.
He just had a Forrest Gump moment there up on the up giving a speech.
Well, we talked about all that.
Somebody unplugged it.
I'm gonna keep going.
God damn it!
Fuck you! I'm gonna keep going.
Get off the stage, old man.
I got a soapbox. You guys talked for 25 minutes about single and double action pistols. I don't know fucking thinking about it.
How many times I gotta teach you this lesson, old man?
I'm tired of digging holes, Grandpa.
I was just surprised that the time period between SKS acceptance and AK-47 acceptance was 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, they really did not put a lot of faith in the SKS. They're like, we backed the wrong horse. Fuck. Because everybody I know around here that like Milsurp stuff is an SKS or an AK, right? And the SKS guys are like, it's just as good. And I'm like, no, I don't think it is. Like, Russia didn't keep it. The Soviet Union didn't keep it, like, for a reason.
Yeah. Well, especially the SKS guys that, like, put it in a Tapco stock and then put, like, a fixed 30-round mag on it. Yeah. It's just as good.
You gotta put the drum. Don't they make a drum round mag for it now, by the way?
I don't know.
I think they do. Who the fuck knows? I don't know anymore. All right, I'm done.
All right. That was good.
Good night, everybody. Have a great night. Don't drink and drive. Spay and neuter your pets.
Oh, the old
help control the pet population, everybody.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
That's a Price is Right joke for.
Yeah, I was trying to remember his name. Yeah.
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker.
Yeah, Bob.
Price is wrong, bitch.
Well, cool.
Gilmore.
There we go. We always have to have a good digression.
Yes.
On the show. So
the old man.
Yeah.
Ranting on SKSs and AKs over there.
That I know nothing about. Like, this is literally like the topic. I'm like, I don't know fucking know.
It's all conspiracy theories.
Yeah. My tinfoil hat. That's good.
Yep. So good.
Make sure you got a lot of shellac.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So
Vicky.
good podcast. I hope we helped somebody. I hope somebody that's new to the podcasts, or new to Milsurps and maybe new to the podcast can
hope
get
not
some.
new to the podcast.
Well, these guys are idiots.
Well, maybe.
This guy's drunk.
Yeah, maybe.
Crazy people.
Like all the time.
Yeah. This is us. Welcome. If you're new, welcome. It only gets worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really does. This was a PG.
Cool.
You only have crazy people like us, or you have the people that won't talk to you because you're too young.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't mention that with young collectors, but yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
There's a tax. You're too young.
Yeah. Me at gun shows, like, I try and talk to people, and it just never works out for some reason.
Just don't talk to people. That's what I do.
That's true. Too. I walk by and laugh at the prices.
Grow you
nothing about this space says tell me your problems.
Yeah, grow you a mustache and start talking with a little bit of accent.
Actually, depending on how this shows up on your screen, Danny, we have the evolution of facial hair because we have none with Michael.
Oh yeah.
Mustache with you. Jared's got a beard going, but it's not like full out.
Yeah, I don't do the full. I do short.
Right. So, and then we have me that looks like you said like an Amish person.
A murder hobo.
Yeah, I think just because of the location. Where would you say the majority of your beard is coming out of?
Balls.
Is it below the chin?
I feel bad for this guy.
On the neck area?
I would say it's the taint. Not a solid taint game.
We already discussed this picture, didn't we?
Yeah, before the trim. The old Aaron. Gosh. That looks like a before and after rehab picture or something, man. That's like a
Which one's the before and after?
This guy sells crack actually. On a van. This guy just sells crack by your house.
Yeah. Well, all right. I hope we helped somebody new getting into this. And thank you to everybody for sticking with us. Thanks for coming on, Michael. Appreciate it. Very last minute. We always do these so last minute.
Yeah, people think hour notice.
I think people assume we plan these like weeks ahead of time, but it's like
sometimes.
Aaron called me while I was in the shower, and we were like, "Hey, yeah, let's do it." And
what phrasing? No.
Huh?
Phrasing.
Tank game.
I was driving from work, and I called Danny. He didn't answer the phone. And Danny called me back from his shower. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. This is not...
I was calling you. It'd be rude not to call you back. Like, why would I call you back? I don't get it.
But you specifically mentioned that you were in the shower.
Just in case, like, you heard, like, some, like, sound. And you were just like, are you at, like, a waterfall? Are you at a river?
You could be washing your hands and bathing your child. I don't care.
Is there like a fountain? I just wanted you to know, just, transparency.
He messaged me. I'm like, I'm gonna need at least an extra half hour. Why? I'm at dinner with the wife. Like,
in the future, if I call you and you answer and you're like, I'm taking a shit, I'm gonna hang up the phone. It's just not. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
It's not like we're FaceTiming. We're just on the phone.
You are straining.
It's just voices.
awfully.
No straining. Just
Go. Eat a muffin.
I don't like muffins.
The bran muffin.
I don't really care for
No, that's when you don't say you're taking a shit. You say you're taking an errand. So it's all right.
Oh, I thought it was going to be an M95 because it kicks like a mule.
That's after tacos. We didn't have that tonight.
I'm taking a Mosin.
All right.
Wrap it up, Danny.
Because the bolt's stuck.
We're way
Okay.
off the rails.
Alrighty.
Stuck. The bolt. I'm constipated. The bolt stuck. Is that what it is?
Yeah, thanks. I was hoping somebody would get that. Yeah.
You just gotta hit it on the table to open it up. Well, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, you need somebody to come in and okay.
Bring him back.
I'm sorry. I
It's
just
like
thought of another one of those,
1 a.m. here.
those really funny videos. You do the help me step bro, I'm stuck, but it's a Mosin that can't open. And you're just banging it on the table.
Yeah, it's like 1 a.m.
Oh
here.
my God. Alrighty.
Help me step bro, I can't get open. Bam. Bam.
Off the rails.
This is great. Cool.
We're just
All right.
That's a
Thanks
good one.
everyone
Quality.
for coming.
thanks all.
All right. Love you guys.
I'm gonna go to sleep.